All right, got another group v group match. This time between Elijio Palookas for Central and Matt Harris. Harris for this thing makes my eye look like lazy. I think my camera's crooked. But Matt Harris for Squirtle Squad. Basically as usual, this is me giving like an analysis of it. And before anything, like drop a like, subscribe. And in the comments, let me know who you think is going to win. And then at the end, let's see if your predictions were right. So let's go ahead and get started. And we have Elijio, who brought Torkoal, Heatran, Mandibuzz, Dragonite, Kartana, and Hippo. And Matt brought Regieleki, Lando, Kyurem, Cinderace, Ferrothorn, and Urshifu. Alright. So Matt led Kyurem, Elijio led with Torkoal. I mean, it can be free rocks for Torkoal right here, but he switches out to D-Knight. And Kyurem gets up a sub, which is... Kyurem behind his sub is actually pretty dangerous, because it has like really great coverage. And the Ice Beam actually kills the Dragonite. Multi-scale didn't save it. And Kartana comes out. And Kartana can pretty much... I mean, I think it can survive any attack from Kyurem. Yeah, that... Oh, never mind. Ice Beam killed it. So now, Heatran comes out, and I believe Kyurem's carry Earth Power, but the Eruption kills the Kyurem. I believe this may be Scarf Eruption Heatran. Like, that's really the only way that it outsped. So he goes into Lando here, pivots into his Hippo to just kind of like absorb any attacks. I mean, Earthquake does, what, 27%? Gets a Toxic off on the Hippo, and I mean, goes for Slack off. I mean, it could have easily been free rocks if he wanted it to. Goes into Mandy here. And Lando goes for Stealth Rocks. Gets a Toxic off on Mandibuzz. And he goes for Foul Play on the Lando. And it only does 30%. So, I mean, I guess this is a pretty much mainly defensive variant. So he clicks U-turn, probably going to go into his... Okay, he goes Ferrothorn here instead of Regieleki. Gets the Defog off, and I mean, Heatran is kind of a free switch in. Just has to worry about the knockoff. And he goes for Leech Seed, but Heatran, like I said, I believe this thing is Scarf, and I don't think he doesn't really have a fire resist. Okay, never mind, he goes into Torkoal. So Torkoal comes out, resets the sun, and Cinderace is there. And he can pretty much go right back into his Hippo, but instead, Matt doubles back into Lando here. And Torkoal actually got up free rocks. And Lando gets a rock. So, I mean, Torkoal goes for Lava Plume, doesn't get the burn, unfortunately. Goes for U-turn. He's just like, yo, kill my Torkoal. That's why he's staying in. And Cinderace comes in. It's obviously heavy duty boots since it didn't take any stealth rock damage. High jump kick does nothing. 33%. Goes for rapid spin. Now you got a fast turtle. And so goes for high jump kick again. Still really not any damage. And goes for Lava Plume again. I mean, Torkoal now he probably has to conserve it a bit because he can reset Sun. Goes for the Gunk Shot on Mandy. Does what, 45%? I mean, that's actually a good bit of damage. Pivots out into his Ferrothorn, which is kind of weird. Goes for U-turn here. And he loses the Mandibuzz due to the Rocky Helmets and Iron Barb. So Torkoal can come in again and set the Sun. And now it can just click Lava Plume again. Yeah, Regieleki took, what, 65%? I mean, I guess Regieleki might set up screens, but he goes Hippo here because Hippo can take any Regieleki attack. Goes for T-Boat, which does nothing, and I mean, that's really all Regieleki can do besides like Explosion. Goes into the Pharaoh, and he actually doubled into the Heatran. which was a good play on his part because now he can just spam Eruption. And now Regieleki is dead. But I mean, the obvious switch in here for Matt would be either Lando or Cinderace or Urshifu. Goes for Flamethrower, and like I said, this is a Scarf Heatran. So that just killed the Urshi. Cinderace comes in. I mean, Sucker Punch does what? 35%? The Flamethrower still kills. And I believe, let's see what Lando's at. Lando is at 46%, so it'll kill Lando and it'll kill the Ferrothorn. Like, you don't really see Scarf Heatran too much, but it is definitely a problem. So it gets the Flamethrower off, kills the Ferrothorn, and Lando has to come in. And, I mean, that's GG. So, I mean, he basically just clicks Flamethrower. So that's game 1, and now for game 2. And Elijio brought out the Rillaboom, Garchomp, Mew, Urshifu, Cloyster, and Nidoking. And Matt brought out Garchomp, Clef, Melmetal, Hydreigon, Zeraora, and Slowking. Now let's go ahead and start. So he leads Urshifu. I mean, Mr. Punch Holes. Melmetal comes out. And he goes into Clef. I mean, the obvious switch in. Goes for CC. I mean, damage is damage. At this point, I mean, because it hits hard no matter what. Gets the Moonblast off on the Mew, which, I mean, doesn't really do anything. Goes into Hydreigon and goes for block. And Hydreigon can no longer leave. And Mew goes for transform here. Hydreigon clicks U-turn, which does, what, 28% to the Mew, the transformed Mew. Goes back into Melmetal, and he goes Garchomp to basically just residual damage with the Rocky Helmet and the double iron, and the rough skin. So Melmetal is now down to 42% from those hits. So Slowking comes out, I mean, free rocks for the Garchomp. Goes back into Mew because, I mean, it can take most things that Slowking could possibly do. And it can get a free Roost or Recover here, whichever one it runs. And Synchronize gets rid of the burn. And he's carrying Lumberry, so that actually helps out Mew as well. Goes for Roost. And Slowking teleports out. He'll probably go, okay, go Zeraora. I would have expected maybe Hydreigon. Goes for a Volt Switch. And Volt switches into the Hydreigon. And Mew gets off a Roost, and it'll probably transform again here. Because it knows, well, I don't think he revealed if he was faster or not. Goes for Dark Pulse, which does nothing to the transformed Mew. Goes into Clef here, and Clef didn't take Stealth Rock damage, so you know the Clef is Magic Guard. Goes into Rillaboom here, and Rillaboom can kind of maybe just click Wood Hammer at will. Yeah, knocks the Garchomp down to 19%. I mean, takes all the way to 47%, but I mean, the grassy terrain helps out a lot. He switched out in case the Garchomp was faster, and Garchomp's got a Rocks. Mew comes back in, and I mean, it'll probably, okay, goes for block again on the Hydreigon. And Mew clicks transform again, and Hydreigon's probably going to defog here. No, U-turns, okay. And goes into Clef, because I mean, at this point, Clef can kind of just click, it can click, what is it? Moonblast. Nidoking comes out, and it takes the Moonblast. Luckily, didn't get the special attack drop, and he can just click Sludge Wave, just to get damage off. Only does 35% to the Slowking. So, I mean, he's basically forced out. Goes back into Mew again. And he goes for Scald here, and Mew can basically click Roost again. Goes for a Roost. Clicks Teleport. Goes back to Hydreigon again on the Mew. Goes for a Roost here, and let's see what Hydreigon does. It clicks U-turn. And he goes into his Garchomp here. I guess he's... And Mew goes for Roost. Garchomp stays in, goes for a Toxic, but he's synchronized. So the Toxic, goes back onto the Garchomp as well. Goes for a block. That way Garchomp, basically, Garchomp's dying. So Mew can essentially just Roost and guarantee the Garchomp dies next turn. And bye-bye Garchomp. Goes into Hydreigon. And Mew used Imprison. I honestly don't really remember what Imprison does. And he goes to Zeraora. And Mew dies here. And he can probably just go into his, Rillaboom, or he could have went to Garchomp here. But I think what he's trying to do is just get a quick Grassy Glide off, because nothing really resists it. Well, Hydreigon resists, but it can't take the 2-hit KO. And now Hydreigon is dead. And he'll probably bring in his maybe Melmetal to deal with it. Or, Clef. And Clef can pretty much just click Moonblast at will. But, Nidoking is still switching. But he has to worry about the special attack drop. Instead, he goes for Soft Boiled. So, but Nidoking can still just tee off a bit with Sludge Wave. He only dropped 35%, which, honestly isn't enough. Goes into Fu here. He has to worry about a Scald Burn. And he didn't get burned, and Urshi can kind of... Let's see what Clef is at. Clef is at 100%, so that's why he doubles back into Nido, expecting the Clef to come in. And Nido can click Sludge Wave. And he's getting that Slowking closer and closer to being in range of a kill. Goes back into Urshifu here. And he goes Melmetal. And Slowking can kind of just click, Slowking could have just clicked, what is it? Wicked Blow and killed the Melmetal there, but he switches out and goes the Garchomp route to let the Garchomp get enough damage off on Melmetal. Goes into Cloyster here, and just kills it with Icicle Spear. Let's see, goes Zeraora, and he goes into his Urshifu here. I think he's just planning to sack it. Okay, he goes for Knockoff, which, knocks off the black glasses. So he's been bluffing the ban the entire time. Clef comes out, he goes for bulk up. Goes for a Wicked Blow, only does 25%. Yeah, if he had Poison Jab, that would have actually done like a decent amount of damage to it. And Cloyster comes in. I don't know why he didn't go into his Nidoking, because Nidoking would have basically guaranteed the kill on Slowking next turn. But, Clef's there, gets the Soft Boiled off, and he goes into Slowking here. So, Icicle Spear. And the problem is, even though Slowking can regenerate, he can't really keep switching in freely in and out. Because if he goes into either Clef or Zeraora, they will die to the following hit. So he kind of put himself in a bad spot, forcing himself to stay in. But either way, Nidoking plus Rillaboom would have given him a lot of trouble. And Cloyster comes out and can just pretty much just click Ice Shard and just make sure to get that last little bit of damage. Goes for Knockoff. Gets rid of the Life Orb, and Rillaboom can come in now. And Rillaboom can just, like I said, just click Grassy Slide. Kill Zeraora. And even if the Grassy Glide doesn't kill the Clef, he still has Nidoking in the back to kill. So that does what, 51%? He'll Soft Boil, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Because he'll still, no matter what, be in that range to die from Nidoking. So Grassy Glide here. And he goes for Moonblast just to, and it doesn't kill. Okay. That's unfortunate. Because what he could have done is just kept soft boiling to try and stall out the grassy glide. But either way, it wouldn't have really mattered. And so that's 2-0 in favor of Elijio. So that's 2 points for Central, 0 points for Squad. And let me know in the comments what you thought of the battle. And I mean, as always, look forward to a lot more in this series.